What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN's live stream of Final Fantasy XIII-2 and the reveal of our exclusive review. I'm your host, Daemon Hatfield. I'm joined by a couple devilishly handsome gentlemen here. Please say hello to PlayStation editor and Final Fantasy expert, Ryan Clements.
Hello, everyone.
Ryan,
and how are you, Damon?
I'm excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you. Feeling good.
Good to know.
Ryan reviewed the game for us.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yes.
Also here is Final Fantasy enthusiast, Colin Moriarty.
Yes. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, also PlayStation editor here at IGN. Ryan, show us the game. Let's get right into the game here.
Let's get right into it. So, Damon, we are starting just about 20 minutes after the game's opening. So we skipped a little bit of the main tutorial segment because it's kind of boring. And now we've well, it's not boring, but we've taken control of Serah, who is pretty much one of two main protagonists in this game. And you'll see a lot of weird stuff's about to go down with her.
So viewers, over the next 2 hours, we're going to be showing you a lot of the early moments of the game.
Yes.
And we've got a lot of stuff to give away too. We've got posters, we've got prologue books, we've got a lightning statue, and we have a copy of the collector's edition of Final Fantasy XIII-2 to give away.
Oh, yeah.
So, in order to make yourself eligible, all you have to do is tweet us at IGN.com with your questions. Just like, let's see, Reztash did. Reztash asks, what kind of role, if any, will Eidolons and summons play?
Sadly, no role whatsoever, Damon. I'm sorry.
That was an easy one.
It was an easy one. There's actually no real summons, but in its place, as we're going to see a little later in the stream, you can basically tame monsters and pretty much almost any monster in the game you can tame and have join your party as the third member of your party. Now, just as you can see, some things are going weird right now on screen, and this is an example of a live trigger, which is one of the things that the developers have put in here that's very different from 13. Gives you a lot of dialogue choices. You get to see kind of different ways that conversations in the game play out. So right now, this is like kind of Serah's inner monologue, and I'm just going to say, is this still a dream? Because that seems pretty appropriate, because I don't think this is reality right now.
What kind of changes happen when you make those choices in game? Is it significant, like Fallout type?
No. It's pretty much all like for the point of if you were replaying it again and you want to hear a little bit different dialogue or access different information. It's all for information. Okay. It doesn't really have a huge impact on the story.
Okay. So getting right to it, Ryan.
Yeah.
Is Final Fantasy XIII-2? You think it's better than Final Fantasy XIII?
Yeah. Definitely. Like a lot of improvements have been made, and I know it's going to be a little disorienting right now because obviously Serah is in some crazy world right now. But the opening of the game is very unusual for people that played 13 because Lightning is battling in some castle that we have no idea what it is, and she's fighting this dark-haired man we've never met before, and then suddenly we're here with Serah, and this is what she's seeing right now is these strange visions, and there are monsters totally effing up her village right now. So
will it be apparent to those who played through Final Fantasy 13 exactly where this begins, or is it kind of something that they parlay later into the game?
It's it kind of just throws you into it, but luckily on the main menu, which you guys haven't seen here yet, they have basically a total summary of everything that happened in 13. So technically someone that never even played the original game could just like read through that summary. It's almost like a little book. You just read through each chapter, and Serah falls on her butt for a second, and this is where she's going to meet the other protagonist of the game. Oh wait, right after Lebro saves her. My bad, haven't played this opening in a while, Damon. I'm just gonna blatantly lie to you. This is not the other main hero of the game.
You have to look after yourself now.
Well, speaking of books and explanations of the game, we also have a few actual books to give away. We have Final Fantasy XIII Episode 1 books, which apparently you said they bridge the gap in between 13 and 13-2.
Full disclosure, Damon, haven't read this particular book yet, but I'm under the impression that it bridges the gap between the two games. Okay. So we'll be giving those away.
We've got 3 of those to give away.
Here's Noel, by the way. So this is the boy hero of the boy and girl combo here, and he's going to give Serah her weapon that she'll be using pretty much for the whole game. Little known fact, which you're about to find out, that weapon is actually a Moogle, a little white creature transformed into a bow and arrow, because that's just how these games work. Yeah.
Don't ever lay down and wait to die.
So Noel is going to get out his twin blades here, and we have our first proper battle of the live stream. Welcome, guys, to battle. So very similar system to what we saw on 13, with a lot of improvements which we'll be going over later. But the basic thing is we control one character, which is Serah right now, and you have the ability to kind of stack up attacks, which eat through the segmented gauge on the top here. And so she's going to kind of follow through. I have, by the way, full control of the camera. I always forget about that you can actually kind of rotate the camera around in battle. It's a nice little touch.
Are there new paradigms in Final Fantasy 13 too?
Not technically, no, because there are still the 6 roles that's the same 6 roles that each character can have. However, there's better and more precise ways you can tweak how those roles work. And we'll get to that in a bit after we get through these.
This looks very familiar. The rating system.
Yeah, the rating system.
The spoils screen.
And it's still cool because to me that it always gives you motivation to really try hard in battle because you're being scored for every battle, and that influences the kind of spoils you get, and I think it might influence the amount of gil you get. So here's the. Oh, gil, by the way, Damon.
Money. I got that. Yeah, I know that.
Yes, I'm going to skip this tutorial. I almost knocked over these books. Goodness.
Getting so excited.
I know, I'm getting excited.
Colin, you represent the camp that wasn't so crazy about Final Fantasy 13.
Yes, I do.
So I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts today on how Final Fantasy 13 is looking to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to go into it with an open mind, and I went into Final Fantasy 13 with an open mind too. Because it looked fun. I remember Clements playing it for review, and it looked really fun. And there was a lot of promise in that game, but it was just very linear. It didn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. And what I think that the promise in 13.2 and why I'm somewhat excited to really get into it when I have some time at home is to see the non-linearity brought back into Final Fantasy, which was, I think, always the hallmark when you think of games like Final Fantasy VI especially, or the exploration of Final Fantasy VII, games like that. There was basically one 40-hour-long hallway at the beginning of Final Fantasy 13, and only opened up at the end of the game, and that just didn't feel like a Final Fantasy game to me. So I'm really excited about this.
I mean, Colin's totally right. I mean, I enjoyed 13, but I will be the first to say that it had its fair share of problems, and it certainly wasn't for everyone. And I'm interested to see what you think after we just sit down and play this for a while.
Yeah, Ryan also reviewed Final Fantasy 13 for IGN.
The original, yes, correct. All right, so that was, by the way, the first example of a paradigm shift, which is just a really fancy way of saying you're changing your roles mid-battle and kind of giving your party a different way to fight. Keep fighting these monsters.
I want to show you guys what these posters look like that we're going to be giving away. If we can get these up on the screen here.
Do it. Show
there
the poster.
Yeah, so we've got 13 of these posters, very fitting.
Yes.
I'm going to give away. Let's give away one right now to Nate the Grape. Is this an updated version of the last engine, or is it a new engine?
I'm not an engineer, so I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what the version of the engine is.
Yes, people who make video game engines are called engineers.
It looks the same to me.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much an updated version of that engine. I mean there's nothing too radically different here. Nate the Great. Good name, by the way. I like that.
Yeah.
That was fun. Let's just have more of that.
So not as severe as say Mass Effect 2, but more like
Yes.
Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas.
Exactly.
Like
There's definitely been some tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty much all the same. And the thing is, and it's almost a little sad, is that when 13 came out, I think people were pretty universally impressed with that it was a really pretty game. And while this is a pretty game, I would say that I think it shows its age a little bit more than the original one. But
have you played it on Xbox 360 yet?
Yes, I have.
So a lot of the cutscenes were little of less quality than they were on PS3 in the last game.
Yeah, in the last game, and that was because well, who would correct me if I'm wrong? No one can. I'm invincible on this live stream. I think it was a lot of the cutscenes in 13 were pre-rendered, and those super high quality, CG scenes that Square Enix is known for. Mm-hmm. In this game, there's actually very few of those scenes, which definitely enhances the sort of corrects the memory issue that was in the original. So the 360 version is on one disc. As people were, I think people kind of teased the fact that the last version was on multiple 360 discs. This is just one for each version.
That's fascinating, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad. I hope that wasn't sarcasm.
No, it is. You would imagine that the game would be of a comparable size, but maybe they've managed to compress it.
I think they really wanted to get it down to one disc, and I'm sure that 360 players will appreciate that. And the games are they pretty much run the same. I guess. When I had seen the game long ago, the 360 version definitely just didn't run quite as smoothly. But the retail version seems to be very comparable, if not identical.
Well, certainly Japanese developers typically, if not almost always, have their lead build on PlayStation.
Yeah,
so that's to be expected in a sense. No?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's safe to say that if you owned both systems and you don't really care one way or the other, you should probably maybe go with the PS3 version, because that's the one I can personally say I've beat all the way through. Mm-hmm. But we've done testing with the 360 version, and also Marty, one of our staff members on the 1UP side, basically completed the entire game on 360, and he had no problems with it. So he can assure our viewers that there was no problems there either. So here's the aftermath of that attack.
Beachside battle.
Beachside battle. Noel is helping LeBro as she was injured in the fight.
I wish LeBro was actually like a dude, like a big buff dude, and his name was LeBro.
LeBro is totally a girl, but
A little Naruto looking.
he's a Naruto reject. No, but these are you guys might recognize some of these faces. These are the Nora members from 13. They're all of Snow's friends and companions that they kind of started the game in the original. Now they've helped settle this little new town. If you guys didn't know, the ending of 13. Here's kind of a spoiler. Game came out like a year and a half ago, so you guys kind of have to get used to it. But the Cocoon, the giant artificial world, obviously fell to the ground, and it was just barely saved by the sacrifices of the heroes. And now people are trying to populate the lower world, which is sort of this wild, dangerous, place in this particular universe. So you can see the big artificial world in the background here, the giant silver moon.
No Christ.
Noel's introducing himself to Serah.
The game's really good looking. It's really pretty.
Oh yeah,
It is.
gorgeous.
Their character models are always the highlight, definitely.
Let's give away another.
Wait, Damon,
sorry,
wait.
Sorry,
The
I'm sorry,
Moogle.
jeez.
The Moogle
yeah,
is
I
about to
don't
come
wanna-
out. We have to. I'm sorry to interrupt
That
you,
is a
please.
surprise.
Yes, continue with the giveaway if you would like.
Let's give a poster to
Your sister.
Asian X Chunky.
All right, fair enough.
They ask, is there any carryover bonuses for beating Final Fantasy 13 with your old save?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't want to give wrong information. I'm not sure
I got
because
you.
I remember reading something about that, but I didn't have my save file on this PlayStation, so I can't confirm. I can't confirm nor deny.
Gave you the Moogle.
Though I know that this game is already like built to accommodate DLC because it has a giant downloadable content thing on the main menu. So
You actually
definitely
know
expect
you're
that.
on that meteorite?
Seeing the Moogle makes me very happy. It reminds me of course, the finest Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VI.
Final Fantasy VI? Yes, of course. I think you and I can agree on
Yeah,
that.
and it's quite cute.
Yes, it is
adorable.
cute. It is adorable. He is definitely the mascot of Final Fantasy 13-2. And it's cool. I mean, he's also a storytelling device because he's just the one that can basically solve everything when they carry him around. He's really the true hero.
But does he use massive staves and swords like he did in Final Fantasy VI
No.
for 9,999 damage?
No, sadly, he only uses his little wand with a clock on it.
Comes out with a boomerang.
It seems like only yesterday.
So I actually really like this about this particular game is that Lightning and Serah are sort of the dual narrators of the game. And it's really cool. I think both Serah and Noel's voice actors have just done like a tremendous job. Especially considering the script and the material, and it's it's of course very Japanese. It's very melodramatic and fantastical, but I think they just did a great job, and I think you'll find pretty solid voice acting in this whole thing.
Same actors from 13.
For Lightning, yes, and I'm pretty sure Sarah's is the same as well. She sounds identical. But I know that Allie Hillis is the boy returns to reprise her role as Lightning again.
That looks really cool.
Yeah.
But even so,
Do you play as Serah for the whole game?
Sarah and Noel, and you can basically control either of them.
Okay.
They're your main playable characters.
I gotcha.
And that third spot in the party is for the monsters, which we're going to be taming a little later.
Viewers, behind me here, you see the collector's edition that we'll be giving away towards the end of the show. And this is the lightning statue that we've got too.
what do you do?
It's a nice friggin' figure.
I feel like an interrogator. Do you mind me asking?
So this is a little example that Colin and I was talking to you about before. Noel's gonna just walk over there for some reason. Open up your speech bubble, there we go.
Curiosity killed the cat, you know.
So you can basically ask her, make the selection. What would you like to ask Noel here?
You're a hunter?
So you're a hunter. Is that like your job?
Well, less of a job and more of a way of life.
Yeah,
In the era I come from, if you
He's
don't learn how
actually,
to hunt, you don't get
the
to
funny thing is I really like him. He's a cool character. He's very likable. He avoids the sort of, I think, the anxious and angsty hero that a lot of people associate with Square Enix, and he's like a cool dude. Obviously, he has his own beasts and demons to battle inside, but still a nice guy. Naturally. Oh, now here I'll have to explain this a little bit later. You'll be seeing it a lot, but that was another big change from this game. the enemies sort of appear on screen, and you have like a brief period of time where you can try and get a hit off and get a preemptive strike. Basically, it starts the battle off with a full gauge, and both your characters have haste cast on them, which is extremely helpful. I just need to turn into a Ravager here and cast some magic.
In the right corner, of course, upper right corner, the stagger chain is back.
Oh,
right?
yes. So definitely a returning feature of the original. You can sort of chain up your attacks, and if you manage to fill that gauge in the upper right, it staggers the enemy, which under most circumstances severely weakens them. And in this particular case, it's really the only way to kill these robots, because when they're not staggered, they're almost impossible to kill.
Their inner core is not revealed.
Their inner core has not yet been revealed.
I want to see some 5-star ratings here, Ryan.
All right, I'll focus. It's because I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to fill time.
I've seen a lot of 3-star ratings.
All right, well, guys can just lay off. Here's the main menu, by the way. Not nearly all the features have been unlocked yet, and we'll go through some of this a little bit later. I can't even change the paradigms yet, which are as I said, the roles of the two heroes.
Let's just go through and read the data log for 2 hours.
Sure. There's probably enough text in there for us to do that. Oh, by the way, Damon, this is the first Final Fantasy in the history of all the main installments where you can jump. I'd like to point that out.
Pretty significant.
Look, see, I am jumping.
Cocoon,
Yeah, so there's Cocoon in the sky there, supported by the crystal pillar.
Let's give another poster away to Ostindo140, who asks, if I've never played a Final Fantasy game before, is 13-2 an okay place to start?
I think you and I can agree that it's an okay place for like a modern take, but I mean,
It's
I
not
don't know.
the. I don't think it's the preferable place. to
Yeah,
start.
it's not preferable because there's so many great moments in this series, and I mean, Colin and I are both big 6 fans. I love 7 too, and both of those games are available in a lot of different platforms, including the Wii, including the PS3. So I would say if you've never played a Final Fantasy before and you want to start with maybe one of the best, I would start with like 6 or 7, even 4
Yeah,
too.
I mean, you can go on PlayStation Network and download the PS1 classics for $10 a piece. You can download 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
There's
So I mean, you have options. You have options there. They're almost
so
very
close.
close.
I'm 4 out of 5.
It's an improvement.
Glad I spent 35 hours learning this system and I still can't get. Oops, sorry.
What's she doing with her Moogle there?
Actually,
Not
wasn't
natural.
Oh, okay.
Crime against God.
Look, the Moogle just pointed out this little treasure chest.
So the battle system in this, or I guess the engagement system in terms of fighting enemies, is not necessarily the typical Final Fantasy random battle. It's more along the lines of something like Chrono Trigger or even the last Final Fantasy.
Yeah, actually, and it's cool because so I could avoid this battle right now if I run far enough away from that metal dude, but I will choose to engage so that we can get into a fight. It's nice though because engage. If you remember this from 13, I'm pretty sure in every area you only had like a set number of enemies to fight. So there really wasn't so much grinding and like experimenting, like you just sort of had those enemies there, and then once they were dead, they were dead. With this, you can just like chill in an area and just run around, which to me is actually much more classic JRPG, and just get experience, just test out new strategies, and you don't have to worry about exhausting your supply of enemies, which is good.
Yeah, that is good.
I
I
like
like that.
enemies.
I kind of wish instead of stagger they had swagger.
Swagger?
Yeah.
Like the enemies just
The
like
swagger
get really
gauge.
swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, swagger gauge. I like it. Now let's see. I think I got a good. Oh wow! All right, I'm focusing. This is it.
I'm sure you're gonna get it.
I'll get it eventually in the next
time.
In the next hour and a half or however long. So right now, Serah and Noel, these two heroes, are on their way to try and find a meteorite that crashed near their town. But Godot, this charming gentleman here, is not going to be very happy about it.
Question here from I love my wifey 66.
Oh, that's a great name.
What kind of side activities can you do in the game?
Way more than 13. There are side quests literally peppering the main story. It's not like the original game how you only had all those side quests right at the end. Like there's just tons of side quests throughout that you basically just talk to NPCs and sorry. I just love this dude. He's so hilarious. Like he's got that crazy hair.
I feel like that takes a lot of maintenance, by the way. Like he's got to go to the farm every few days, right?
Yes, unless he cuts it himself.
Maybe he
I
does.
mean, yeah, you never know. He cares a lot about his personality, or I mean his appearance.
How's the variety of side quests? I mean, is it typical JRPG fare, or there's kind of new stuff in there?
It's It's okay. It's mostly the sort of things you would see in a JRPG where it's just, go fetch this, go kill this. But some of them are cooler, and a lot of them deal with the disruptions in the timeline. Like weird stuff is happening, people don't really understand why, and you kind of have to resolve these paradoxes in the timeline. The entire game revolves around the idea that things went weird in the timeline, and now we have to kind of travel through it to fix it. Because obviously lightning disappeared, and that's like the point of the main story. I do want to point out, I totally forgot to mention this, but it's a nice little option that now, after you input a series of actions, you can just hold right on the D-pad and hit repeat, so you can get that same set again.
Nice.
So it gives you a little more control. Instead of just going to auto battle, you can choose your options, but then you can repeat them easily, which just streamlines the process. I don't actually know where I'm supposed to go right now. I think I investigate the impact site. All right.
If I see another meteorite, I'm gonna shoot.
Melted Pickle. A poster is coming your way. Thank you for the question.
That is an amazing name.
What happened to Snow from Final Fantasy 13?
I don't want to reveal it yet, but he's gonna
Spoilers.
he's gonna make a cameo. I'm actually just trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go right now. Damon, you gotta help me. I don't know.
What? Oh, this is bad TV.
No, we'll be fine. I think I'm supposed to head back to the village.
Viewers, remember, tweet your questions at IGN.
Jump. Oh, geez, I got Battle in the Air.
For your chance to win posters, epilogue or prologue books, and a copy of the collector's edition of the game.
I feel a 5-star rating coming up here.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to focus because I'm gonna be embarrassed if I don't get a 5-star rating on this one. There we go. That felt good.
I think that's going to be a good
That
one.
was it. That might have been it. Wow, they're being really harsh.
Yeah,
This is terrible.
Wow.
But yeah, there's definitely cameos from pretty much every character you would want a cameo to have in this game. You'll see them. But again, it's not something that you really need to be intimately familiar with the story of the original. And of course, later on in the stream, I guess if we can't clear this area, I'll load up my other save file and I can show you guys the wonders that await. Now I'm just gonna beat this dude up.
Dimog80 is wondering what types of rewards are available for the side quests.
It's actually cool. All the side quests just give you an inherent what are they called? Christogen points, which are basically experience points. So you get experience points, you get loot, and you also get things called memory fragments, which give you, that was another 4-star by the way, which give you a little insight into the story of the game. So for example, let's jump into the data log. And we're not going to read it for 2 hours, but let's say you go into significant persons, you might get a fragment that tells you more about lightning, for example, and it'll kind of flesh out the story of lightning and et cetera, et cetera. So that's cool. And
you're not able to use Christogen yet, right, to upgrade your characters?
correct. Yeah, we're going to see that in a little bit.
I bet these monsters follow some idiot back.
Viewers, make sure you're following us on Twitter or else we can't send you a DM to notify you of your prizes and get your address.
I think you're going the wrong way.
Yeah, I totally just went the wrong way. I'm sorry, Damon. I'm sorry, dear viewer. Don't be angry. Just bear with me for 45 seconds as I run back on this friggin' beach.
Colin, which is your favorite Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy 6, by far. Oh, yeah, definitely. Followed by 4. And then probably 9.
I like 9.
Still can't believe you can't throw a 7 in there, man.
Seven's
so
really good.
good.
7's a really special RPG. I think what 7 did was it brought, I think, role-playing to the mainstream, which I think is great.
Totally. That was a huge hit on PlayStation.
The reason I bought a PlayStation, of course, very foolishly in a sense, sold all my SNES cartridges to buy a PlayStation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I remember I got $15 for my Final Fantasy III card, which of course Final Fantasy 6 was Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then I went back to the store at a different time, maybe a week later, saw it marked up quite significantly.
Yes, yeah.
But it ended up being a great choice because I think the SNES had great RPGs, of course, but the PlayStation, the PS1 was, I think, the greatest time for JRPG players.
Hold on, guys. That dude's giving me a hard time. So I would like to point out, one of the problems I'm having with not getting the 5-star rating is that because I can't alter my rolls yet, because I haven't gotten to that point, I start the battle with the wrong rolls. So I'm totally blaming the game. It's not my fault.
It's a poor craftsman who names his tools.
Jeez, man, that's harsh. Deep and harsh.
I think the combat's fun. I mean, I don't think the combat, like when we talk about the critiques of Final Fantasy 13, I think the combat and the paradigm shifts and stuff were actually quite
There you
good.
go. There you go.
So you got some bonuses there, rare drop and item drop.
Yes, exactly. When you get a 5-star rating, you definitely get rewarded for it.
Cool.
But this was fun. I liked like customizing my characters and stuff like that. That definitely wasn't the problem with the game, and I'm glad to see, obviously it being a direct sequel to the game, that they've embraced that combat style.
And you'll notice even like in the very first opening area of the game, there's already like more diversity in the map than the all of 20 hours in 13.
So you can jump, but there's still these like specific jump points when you're going.
Yeah,
from
pretty much.
platform.
Don't,
So
don't
is there-
expect like crazy platforming in this game. It's really just to give it a little more flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, when I said jump,
It's like
it's
jumping. Let's give a poster away to J Black 53. Is there anything like the Titan Trials from Final Fantasy 13?
the Titan Trials. Man, I totally don't remember what the Titan Trials
Yeah, I don't
are.
know what that is either.
So I'm going to say, sure.
Is there anything like that?
Really? You're gonna say okay? Yeah.
I mean, there's actually a lot of kind of cool side things you can do. Oh, actually, by the way, I finally figured out where I'm supposed to go. I'm pretty sure. There we go. That's amazing. There's a lot of cool side stuff you can do, including a Coliseum. There's a giant casino where you can do, which we can show the viewers later.
Tell me more about the Coliseum. Is it like where you fight mystical creatures that are in great equipment, like a certain Final Fantasy game?
Like a certain Final Fantasy. There's going to be actually a lot of DLC will come into play with that too, because what you're going to be able to do is download like famous monsters and stuff and battle them, and then also get them into your party, which is cool. So like that Coliseum will basically just be a breeding ground for finding cool things to add to your party. And one of the things that I was interested in is that everyone that's going to play this game should note that Serah definitely seems to be geared more towards being a spellcaster and Noel the fighter, which you would probably expect just by looking at like their styles. But I kind of wanted to make Serah be the commando because I think that I love going against the grain, but I think that would be not advantageous for your battle strategy. So there's Ryan's tip for the day. Make Serah the magic person. You'll be rewarded.
How is the enemy diversity in this game? I mean, it seems like there's some familiar enemies from the previous game.
Definitely.
Is there a lot of? What would you say the balance was between new and old enemies?
Probably a lot of old. I mean, there really is this is definitely the case where the developers, in order to save time and money, recycled a lot of assets. So you're going to see there are a lot of palette swaps, but again, as you can see, I mean, obviously you recognize that dude from 13 and the Pulseworks soldier. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of repeats, but it's still cool because the improvements, I think, make it worth getting into again. As you said, the battle system was fun, and it's definitely fast. And I think that's one of the advantages is that you're never at a point where it's just such a drag to get in a battle, because battles are always really fast-paced, really exciting.
Yeah, see, I feel like you kind of have to pay attention to them more than maybe the typical
So here's
RPG.
a distortion in time and space.
Sure, it's no dream.
Get through it. There we go.
The Cowboy Poet writes in to ask us.
That is a great name.
He says, "Gents, we've seen direct sequels to 4, 10, 13. Which Final Fantasy do you want to see a sequel to next?"
I don't know. That's a good question.
That is a good question. I
I don't know. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna say I kind of want to see like a remake as opposed to a sequel.
Yeah,
You know, I've
yeah.
been dying for a 7 remake for as long as that tech demo was shown.
I think a 5, 6, and 7 remake of all the 3 of those would be awesome. And I like to feel like the stories are self-contained. I know when I played Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection on PSP, and it had the interlude and then all the stuff that was on Wii originally, like the After Years or whatever. It's good and it's fun and I liked it, and it's cool for Final Fantasy IV fans. But I feel like I like these stories to be self-contained. These are huge games as they are, and that was kind of what was always cool about Final Fantasy until 10 had a sequel, was that these were just standalone games.
Yeah.
How about Final Fantasy Tactics?
Oh, of course. Final Fantasy Tactics needs a sequel
spin-off,
so
right?
desperately. Ryan and I were just talking about that this
But
week.
it got A2. You know, or,
That's
or
true.
What was
well,
it?
they had Advance.
Yeah, it was
and
Tactics
then
Advance and then A2.
Yeah, and those were great games,
Yeah.
but they didn't. I don't think they captured the exact essence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're fairly great games, but a little bit different than the
Yeah,
original.
I agree. To me, that seems like a no-brainer. I'd like to always think that they're definitely working on one.
on Vita. That'd be
Yeah,
so
it would be
great.
perfect.
That would be rad.
I mean, Tactics Ogre was the best game I think on PSP this year, and that's just a great game to bring on the go. And Tactics, obviously, Final Fantasy Tactics is obviously very similar.
We have a lot of love for the spin-offs, and I mean, I like spin-offs for the most part. I mean, I actually really loved Crisis Core, which was the PSP spin-off for Final Fantasy VII. I thought that was a really sweet game.
That was a
gave
good
you a
game.
lot of insight into what was going on in that universe,
Man, I can't believe this.
kind of before Final Fantasy VII starts proper. But I still love a remake. But I'm a fanboy with 7, so that's how it is.
I want a damn explanation.
There's your shot of Cocoon in the sky.
Nice.
Wait, what just happened, Damon? It's gone.
Game over.
The end. The end. Let's see what's going on.
This looks about to get real.
He's just in a really bad mood.
Let's give a poster to ResRave, who asks, how does time travel work in the game?
We're going to be seeing that shortly, but you basically can jump between different times and places through like a main menu, basically, which is called the Historia Crux in this game. And we'll be seeing that shortly, so stay tuned. I think it's actually after I kind of get through this area. What I'll probably do is Damon, do you have the time on your fancy dancy little iPad there?
About 11:35.
All right, cool. Yeah, maybe at around 12 we'll jump ahead. We'll open up my other save file and start jumping through time.
Viewers, if you have any questions about Final Fantasy 13, tweet us at IGN with your questions. You may win a poster, storybook, lightning statue, or a collector's edition copy of Final Fantasy 13.
Which is very cool and very pretty. I want to point out, guys, since we weren't really seeing this with the easier enemies, each of the roles, there's Commando, which is like an attacker, Ravager, Magic Caster, a Sentinel is like defense, Synergist is like gives buffs to the team, Saboteur,
You're gonna die if you don't keep an eye on your health.
thank you, Saboteur weakens the enemy and the medic heals. So you have 6 roles that each have a very specific purpose in battle. Thank you, Colin.
No problem.
But each of those roles also gives bonuses to the other people in your party. So for example, you'll notice every time he's about to do this swipe, I changed misdirection where Noel is a Sentinel, and that actually improves my defense for everyone, not just for Noel. So it's kind of like a quick and easy way that you can protect yourself against massive damage.
I do love how tactical the fighting is. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
really
you
nice.
definitely like when you're on the ball, you really do have to be paying attention and switching paradigms a lot. And I got some cool stuff from that. Although not 5 stars, Damon.
okay.
I hope I haven't disappointed you.
You haven't. You got your 5 stars. Reckless Desire 2 is wondering, do you enjoy those live trigger actions?
Yeah, I think they're cool, and they encourage replays because obviously when you just go with one choice, you can pretty much have 3 others that you can get at some point in the future.
So these by the way, these kind of random aside, these circles that kind of implore you to, you have to jump to the next area. Those
Yeah.
were in Final Fantasy 13, weren't they? So I mean,
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
using the jump mechanic specifically.
That's not-
Exactly,
Oh, okay.
exactly, yeah. Like that's where you do major traversal, moving, up and down. But there are definitely points where you have to kind of jump. Actually,
So because you were telling Damon that there's no specific platforming, of course.
there actually is, but it's like right at the end of the game. I don't want to spoil it, but there's actually like a platforming section, and there's also a bunch of puzzles and stuff that happen too. Here's the meteorite, by the way.
How did the meteorite survive the collision with the planet? It's traveling at 40,000 miles a second.
I would like to think it slowed down. It had brakes, space brakes.
Space race.
There.
So they're pointing out the fact that, whoa, where is the giant artificial planet that was hovering above us just now? And Noel is explaining that in his world, Cocoon never existed, and so we're actually seeing a glimpse into the future because the timeline has been distorted.
Am I crazy, or does this guy look like the dude from Kingdom Hearts a little bit?
Which dude?
I don't know, the
from
dude
Kingdom Hearts?
from the first.
The
The dude.
dude?
I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy. The guy from the first one with the
Serah?
keyblade and the thing.
Serah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have
Viewers are screaming at you right now.
Sora is the main character, and I mean, I don't know.
Not my type of game.
I would say they don't exactly look terribly similar.
Okay. So I'm just imagining it.
Pretty much, because there's really nothing similar about them. I guess they both have kind of baggy pants.
Maybe that's what it is.
Is that it? Is
like
that
MC Hammer pants?
This guy does.
That guy looks like Jack to me from Jack and Daxter a little bit.
I still see Naruto when I see that guy.
Or am I crazy on that too? He doesn't really look like Jack at all from Jack and Daxter.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. So, by the way, they're going to cause some ruckus here, and what's happening is the meteorite that kind of fell through time with Noel is now sort of being transformed into a time gate, which is really the main storytelling device of this game, and it's also the way that you hop between different locations.
What the? It's like a portal. Lightning is in a place called
Mosvinsky wants to know, will we be stuck with 2 human characters in a party throughout the game?
Yes. There are some points where you might have another human character join, but for the most part, it's gonna be Serah and Noel the entire time.
My sister once celebrated my marriage to Snow. I remember her smiling like it was yesterday.
Greg Miller wants to know, he says, I'm lost. I thought the last game was the Final Fantasy. How is there another one?
Okay. Well, that's a really long story,
Yeah,
Greg
really
Miller.
good one.
Yeah.
It all starts in 1987.
25 years ago. Let's go through the whole history right now. We have enough time.
But is he telling the truth?
Here's once again one of Serah's narrations, which I really do enjoy.
Noel's world was a terrible place where Cocoon did not exist. He had traveled back in time to change that bleak future.
I feel bad talking over her narration. I don't know if people want to. I don't know if people want to listen to it or not.
Well, let's give a poster away to Tig1996,
Okay.
who asks, is the story better or worse than 13?
An excellent question. I would say that, and you'll be able to read more about it in my review and video review, but the story loses a lot of focus because we're jumping, around the timeline, and it's kind of hazy. And I think that one of the main problems is that character, really the only motivation you have, and it was already kind of explained in the beginning, is we need to find lightning. And that's really all you get the whole time. So I would actually say that I prefer